This is WarCry. WarCry for our children. Where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, prayer warrior, advocator for justice. We stand in the gap in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church, and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going. WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No. There cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. They're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry. Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. We're not going under. This is WarCry. Hi, everyone. This is WarCry, and we have another dynamic show. WarCry for our children, WarCry for justice. Please share and subscribe to the network because we're going in. We have some dynamic people on our panel today, and I am very excited about our guests. Come on, let's bring them in. Let's bring them in. I am so excited about our guests and about what we're going to do on the East Coast. We're going to shake up New York. We're going to shake up Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta. We're going to shake up Birmingham and Mississippi. And guess what? Memphis, because no crime, we're going to get educated on it. The thing about this weekend is that even though most colleges went back to school, it's still attacked on our historical Black colleges. So I need for you to pray about them. I need for you to stay in tune with them because guess what? The establishment don't want us around. Let's just be honest. They don't want us around. And all the joy we had this weekend, I want you to remember, a mother was crying, a father was crying, a young girl was human trafficking, somebody got murdered, somebody went to jail, somebody committed suicide. We've got to stay on our post and educate each other and network together. Well, I'm so excited. Crime, no crime. Well, I have the right to remain silent. But no, we won't go into that. I want you to find out from the people who really can tell us if you really do have the right to remain silent. So we're going to just introduce ourselves. I got someone here from the DA's office. I want you to go first, and we're going to go to Coco. Then we're going to move right on down the line. Okay, let me hear from the New York DA's office first. Okay, can you hear me?
I
Can
can
you
hear
hear me?
you.
Okay,
Hmm.
let's go. Introduce yourself and tell us some of the dynamic things you're doing because you're doing a lot of stuff and we want to hear about it. Matter of fact, I want the CEO of Crime No Crime, I want her to hear about it because we're all going to connect. Let's go. Let's go. Can you hear me?
I
Okay,
can hear
Coco.
you, LDM. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh, you wanted
Elder,
me
oh,
or you want the DA? I'm so sorry.
I want the DA. I want the DA to introduce, and then we're going to Coco, then we're going to you, Teller, then we're going to you, Trevor, and then we're going to get to our guests in that order. Okay, Coco, you go.
Y'all can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So, good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning.
Good
I
morning.
am Shaniqua Purvis. Everyone calls me Coco. I am the executive director for both sides of the violence. I'm here representing the street and our youth and everything that we go through and try to find solutions so we can stop all this gun violence.
Okay. And let me just ask you a question. How did you get involved with this work?
I got involved with this work after being in the community for a lot of years, helping people, and my sister was murdered in 2002. But what really made me go forward into starting my own organization is when 18 years later, I spoke to the person who killed her. And in that conversation, he showed me that perpetrators are victims too. So after that conversation, I said to myself, this is something that we're not tapping into directly. So I started both sides of the violence. So both sides of the violence help victims such as myself and my and families like mine. And then I also help perpetrators and their families because perpetrators are victims too. So that's how both sides of the violence was birthed.
Thank you. Now, let me hear from the DA's office. Do you see her, Coco? You see her on the line? Nefertiti, come in.
Hi. Oh, okay. Good morning, everyone. I don't
Good
see a,
morning.
DA in studio, but I'll just go. So I am Nefertiti Ankra Lashley. I'm a senior community justice attorney with the Community Justice Unit at the Legal Aid Society. And I'm here because I love our people. I love youth. I love working with youth. My job for me isn't just a job; it's a calling. It's why I went to law school. I work with cure violence organizations. I worked with the amazing Sister Coco and others in Brooklyn and across New York City as well. And so I do a lot of know your rights, legal education with the youth. I do mentoring. I also have my own organization, Empower Healing Arts, where I do self-esteem workshops and a lot of art workshops with youth so that they recognize their own brilliance. And that's why my organization is called Empower. I am power because the power is within themselves. I'm not empowering anyone. I'm just helping them realize the power and the beauty and the brilliance within themselves. So I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Teller, you can come in.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Taylor, and I am a mother, a survivor that lost my daughter Dawn to gun violence. And I am here to also bring awareness to any area, not just Queens where I live, but any area that's going through this horrible gun violence that we're all dealing with. I named my company Next Day After because the next day after you bury your loved one, no one knows what's available to them. No one's aware of compensation, victims' compensation, peer support groups, and just being around people like Coco. I call her Coco because I know her very well now, and she's very good in the community where she's has her organization, and I'm happy to be here also.
Very good. Minister Travel, come in and give your introduction.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I'm here. I've been working in the educational system probably for, I don't know, 30 years, maybe even longer than that. And my key is that the children continue to be educated. My key is that what I would like to do is restructure the curriculum, because our children, the curriculum that people don't understand, has been watered down through the years. So they're not getting top quality. Not only that, I was thinking about it and I just remember they had taken dictionaries out of the grammar school children, and the dictionaries that they have is these little flimsy little dictionaries. They're not detailed as what the English words are about. So it's things like this that has troubled my heart. It's things like this that I want to move my mind in more direction, because I do consider myself an educator, and I do consider myself being concerned about what our children are learning and what they're taking in educationally. And they are not going to be able to have critical thinking skills if they're not giving the criteria and the right tools that they need, that they can look at something and critically look at it on both sides. So that's my thing. I've been pulling out old information about years ago when we used to teach with the phonics and all that good stuff, and how that has developed over the years and been washed out of the system. So these are the things that I'm concerned about, and I'm an advocate for our children.
Okay, let's bring on the first video before the CEO, Earth, that we bring her on, Miss Eartha Johnson. I want the first video to play.
Community event flyers or mailboxes. Crime, no crime.
Crime.
It is a crime. 3 seconds. What's the most serious crime you can get charged with?
Vandalism.
No. It's called mail tampering.
Close to 2 million people are incarcerated in the U.S., which includes nearly 60,000 youth 18 and under. Many didn't know they were committing a crime or didn't appreciate the gravity of their conduct. We are a family of lawyers who get calls when people are in trouble. We created Crime No Crime, a fun criminal law game to educate people on the law. We use real-life scenarios where players determine whether someone has committed a crime and the most severe crime they can be charged with. In a time when legal knowledge is more critical than ever, Crime No Crime is vital. Crime No Crime, from our family to yours.
I want to introduce you to Miss Eartha Johnson. I met her and her family at the NAACP conference. I actually ran to get the Crime No Crime game because I heard people talking about it. I bought the new version of it because it has begun to teach me. I just began to look at the questions, Miss Johnson, and ask people, adults. We wasn't even playing the game. I was playing a trivia. Do you know this answer? Because I knew the answers on both sides. And it was like, no, I think it's a crime. I think it's no crime. I said, you go to jail. You go to jail. So I want to introduce you and tell us a little bit about you, your family, what made you invent the game, and what is crime and no crime.
Thank you so much. First, I want to say I'm just honored to be among you guys, this young ladies. I was listening to your stories, and I'm the sensitive one, and my heart goes out to you. You know, losing a loved one, I can't even imagine, especially when it's a child. You know, Crime No Crime is a criminal law game, and interesting enough, we are a family of lawyers. My oldest daughter is a criminal district court judge. The middle was a prosecutor, just went to the public defender's office. My baby's criminal defense, and my husband and I did corporate law. So we get calls when people are in trouble. And more often than not, it's because they don't know the law. But think about it. Where do our youth learn the law? It's only after they get caught up in the criminal justice system, and you can't undo what's been done. And I can tell you that most people know they've committed a crime. The majority of people we get, but very few realize the gravity of their conduct. So what we tried to do is come up with a game that not only educated people on the law, but actually taught them, educated them on the gravity of their conduct. And when I tell you we were very intentional about the game, it took us 5 years to make it. And when I say that it was, a labor of love, it came at one point where we just thought, I can understand why nobody's ever done this, because it's just, the laws are different everywhere you go. And I know that our attorney there, you can kind of attest to that. And how it started off with, we were going to do state laws. We wiped that out almost instantly, simply because even counties and states had different laws. Then we went to federal. It wasn't enough federal laws. Then we went to state, and we thought, let's do what's in the majority of states. And those were hurdles we had to overcome, because you had first degree, second degree, you had all these degrees out there. And long and short of it, it got to a point, I think 2 years in, I'm like, I don't think we can do it. But I dismissed, and I thought, failing here is not an option. Our kids got to have something to educate them. So what we did is we threw out all the degrees, first, second, and third. We went with universal crimes: assault, a battery, a felony murder, involuntary manslaughter, without going into a lot of detail. We threw it all out. And by the end of it, we were like, I'm pleased. Is it perfect? Never will be, never can be, because of all the constraints. But is it the best that you can possibly get under those constraints? I think it is. And, thank you for this invitation. I'm glad to be here, kind of share the stories. But Crime No Crime is a game that my goal is to keep our kids out the system. It is a lifesaver, not a money maker, and never was designed to be. But our goal is to educate our people with the emphasis on our youth.
Now, let me just ask you a question. Dig deep in, Ms. Johnson, and tell me what inspired you to gather your family, because you did something unique. Most times families got problems working together, but you galvanized your whole family to sit down for a period of time between 3 and 5 years to come up with this unique game. Was it anything that inspired you? Was it because the justice system was so overwhelmed with Black people who didn't know their rights, that we've been incarcerated? Was it because nobody knew their Miranda rights, or the right to remain silent were being violated? What really made you, from your gut, want to do this?
Yeah, that's interesting that you would say that. I went to school actually to be a public defender. And what happened along the way is I went and worked for the Justice Department, and they offered me a job, but the salary was so low that I couldn't even think about taking it, because I had 3 children when I went to law school. And I think it was like $36,000 a year working in DC with a husband. That is, it was not even something I could consider. But God works in mysterious ways. And how I came up with it was, it was, if y'all probably noticed when y'all were saying your stories, I'm very sensitive. It's like I got to do everything I can to keep from crying when y'all were talking about your family members that you had lost. And I think it's because of that. It's who God made me. And I have some I'm always sticking myself in everybody else's situations. It's like I just live through everybody. And it was something that so many times we get situations, and I'll give you one that really kind of got to me. It was a young boy. He was graduating high school, and he was with his friends, and they wanted to go break in someone's house. And these weren't even bad kids, just little stupid kids. They wanted to go get PlayStations, all of that kind of stuff. And he had the foresight to say, my mother would kill me. Plus, I don't want to lose my scholarships. He said that. So he didn't want to be involved. But what he didn't know is just say that he lives in a straight line, and they were going to the left. He drives them as far as he's going, where they are about to go, but he don't divert off his route home, and he just drops them off. That was enough to get him into it as helping to facilitate that crime. Mm-hmm. And bottom line, that is it. Just like, he didn't know. Why didn't he know? Because we don't teach them. Our kids don't know. When they know better, they'll do better. That's what I believe. There's some out there that's going to be a knucklehead no matter what. But there's some out there that we can save. And our goal is to save those ones that we can. And I think that this game will do it.
And I'm going to put something behind that. Amen. I'm in agreement with that. But I think even though we're saying our children don't know, which I'm in total agreement that we should play these games with our children, but we don't know. Adults don't know. We need to buy the game if we don't do nothing but look at each card and read on the back of each card, because there are some things we don't know. Like, for instance, now this could have happened. One of your cards says that if you go to the airport and I think it's the FTA stopped you, the guy who checks your bags, and he's going through your bags. Now you're very upset because you want to miss your plane. You don't want to miss your plane. And he said, I got to look at everything, and you miss your plane. And we start cussing him out, pointing our finger at him. You say it's a crime.
Yeah, bottom line, those are public servants, and things that you do to them, it can come back as sometimes even felonies depending on it. And even, you have a lot of us, or a lot of people have controlled substance medications that are loose, and it falls in your purse or something. You don't have a bottle. You go through screening. Bottom line, they can arrest you for that. It's so many things. Having a gun that you forget about, because a lot of states have where open carry, you can have these guns, have it in that airport. You just don't understand. I'll give you a couple that most people don't think about. Running someone off the road who cuts you off in traffic. No one's injured, no property damage, crime or no crime. What do y'all think?
Wait a minute, wait. You got to give it to us slow. We in New York. Give it to us again.
I know y'all are the fast people. I thought I was doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm fast. I caught it. I set a crime.
It is a crime, and that's
Coco, you don't count. Coco, you don't count.
Yeah, but what is the crime? That most people know, like I said earlier, they committed a crime. But what is the most serious thing, and how the game goes is, think of the Family Feud. You got two teams of up to four people. First person get come up, they get the question: crime or no crime. And Coco, you got that right. Now that you got that right, your team would get 20 seconds to confer, and it's 20-second timers, as you can see, as to what's the most serious thing you could get charged with. If you don't name the most serious thing, team two can steal it. So I know that, Coco, if you don't get it right, Nefertiti.
Oh yeah, Nefertiti. Let me tell you, Nefertiti is disqualified from.
Okay, there you go. So what do you think is the most serious thing you could get charged with for that?
Go back, Coco. You got it.
I think it could be assault or harassment.
And most people would say that. But I'm going to give team two, I'm going to give Minister Patton the opportunity to, that's not the most serious thing listed. So Minister Patton, is it Peyton Patton?
Patton.
Okay, Minister Patton, what do you think it is? See if you can steal those 15 points.
I think it could be a felony, a low-class felony.
Okay, how about Mrs. Taylor?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure on that one. I'm
going to give it to you. How about aggravated assault with a deadly weapon? There you go. We're trying to teach our kids. Everything about this game is intentional. We're trying to get them to know it's not just the guns and the knives. Your car could be a deadly weapon. A pointed heel can be a deadly weapon. So our goal is to educate our youth so they don't fall victim to the system. I'll give you one more. Crime.
Okay, wait. Okay. Text me. Put the answer in the chat for me so I can get it right.
How do I?
No, I'm joking.
Okay. Crime or no crime? Serving as a lookout for a friend who the homeowner kills as your friend goes in to burglarize the house. You're the lookout. Unbeknownst to you and your friend, the homeowner's there. And as your friend enters into that house, homeowner shoots him and kills him. As the lookout, Mrs. Taylor, crime or no crime?
It's a
I'm gonna
crime.
say crime.
There you go. That's the
Yeah,
easy part again.
definitely.
Now, what's the crime? What's the most serious thing, Miss Lookout, are you going to get charged with?
Accessory.
To murder.
Wrong, Coco. It was Mrs. Taylor's chance, but
Uh-oh. That was, she took my words right out of my mouth.
Okay.
We was there with them. Yes.
how about the accessory is only accessory to the burglary, because had your friend lived, all they could have gotten is accessory to the burglary. In actuality, you're going to get charged with felony murder. You're going to get charged with your friend's death. In every state except for Hawaii, Ohio, let me think. Michigan, and there's one more. Hawaii, Ohio, Michigan, and I can't think of the fourth state, but it's 4 states that does not have a felony murder rule. Did I say Kentucky?
No,
That would be the other one. That don't have a felony murder rule. Illinois and California, you would have to actually be the actual shooter or involved with the shooting. But in every other state, it's your murder. Our kids don't know that felony murder rule. And a lot of kids are sitting in jail all because they participated in some minor way. And they can spend the rest of their life behind bars. So that is the game. It's 250 real life scenarios that covers misdemeanors, felonies, police searches, seizures, and interrogation. This is the newest game out. And this,
I have that version. I got that version.
Our first version, and I changed it for several reasons, and I'll talk about that later if time permits. But
okay, now let me ask you a question. One of the biggest things, and I want Nefertiti, I want her to come in. I had asked her. Well, matter of fact, I want her to tell me the difference between intimidation and deception. I mean, because when they get our kids in these close quarters in these rooms, and our kids are sweating, and they say they read them their Miranda rights. But what is the difference between intimidation and deception?
Thank you, Elder. Thank you, Elder M. And also, I want to say I'm so excited about this game. I will be purchasing this game and doing it with all of the youth that I work with in the Cure Violence sites.
Thank you.
So I do a lot of know your rights and different with the youth. And that question, thank you, Elder M, for that question, because a lot of our youth don't realize that the police have the legal right to use deception when questioning. And that's one of the things I always tell the youth: do not say anything. And if they are a participant in one of our sites, they know they have me or one of my colleagues as an attorney. So they immediately say, I'm going to call my attorney. But the difference between deception and intimidation, I think, is when, for example, the police don't tell somebody who's under 18 that actually we need to speak to your parent. Like they're not supposed to question anybody under 18. They have to contact.
Well, let me come in. Do they have to say we need to speak to your parents? Is that something that they should say? Or should I, as the youth, say, I want my mom, I want my dad, I want my lawyer? Whose responsibility is it to say that?
So when they're under 18, they are not supposed to question them. They automatically have to go call the parent. They are not supposed to. Now, if they're an adult, then the onus is on you to say, I want to speak to my lawyer. I'm not going to, answer any questions. But if they're under 18, the police do not have the right to question them without speaking to a parent. And when I say what I think that the difference between deception and intimidation is sometimes I hear like clients, they'll be kept in, these interrogation room for hours on end, right? Hours on end. They come in, they might bang their hand on the table. They might try to, that I think is intimidation, right? And
okay, let me ask another question. Let me come in again. Is there I'm hearing a lot of stuff that's 48, 72 hours that you can hold a person without actually charging them. Is that true? Come in and help me understand that too.
Well, typically when somebody goes to the precinct, it really is supposed to, it's not supposed to take any longer than 48 hours. Normally between 24 and 48 hours. By that time, they should be sent to central bookings, sent to arraignments to see the judge. We've had cases where it has gone beyond 48 hours and we've had to call the precinct, speak to the inspector and say, what's going on here? Why are you holding this person in the interrogation room beyond 48 hours?
Okay, let me come in again. So then what you're saying is that the police are committing a crime against us, against our kids. If they're violating the rules, they're committing a crime against our children. Go ahead.
Yes, the interesting thing about law, right? And I think that what has been done in this country a lot, from years, is that the law changes to suit the powerful, right? The law changes and then it ends up oppressing Black and brown people and those of us who don't have, all this money, for example. And that's something that I also teach. Like I use the book The Color of Law to teach the history of redlining, etc. So it's like, what is a crime? What was a crime that is now no longer a crime, for example? So, and to say your point, it is true. Like when our rights are violated, that is not right, right? And I think it's also very important to teach the youth that the law changes. And I think that really puts the power in their hands, like, oh, I can be part of the solution, whether I become a lawyer or whether I become a politician, whether I become a councilman or a councilwoman, and teaching about, the legislative, agenda and how to even get involved in that. And I think that's really more powerful even than just, I used to say people like, go vote, and I used to talk about Fannie Lou Hamer and stuff, but I realized even teaching the history of the law and how it has morphed over the decades and how you can get involved in the system to change it, that even has greater power in encouraging people like, oh, okay, I really see the value in voting, even though it is a flawed system that we live in.
Okay, let me ask a question. So you're saying that in New York State, that our children should not be held no longer than 48 hours before they're charged. And if they're held 48 hours and not charged, they should be released to go home to a guardian. Is that the law?
Well, they're not going to be released. No, they're not going to be released to go home to a guardian. But it is something that I tell, clients that after it is done, if they hold you, for example, 72 hours, if you have an attorney that can advocate for you to expedite that, that's great. And then afterward, we can deal with that. We can deal with the fact that the police held you for a longer amount of time.
But they have no charges. They don't have no charges against me. How can you hold me? Then there's no charges against me. I want to let Johnson come in. Eartha Johnson, Miss Johnson, come in. How can you hold me? There's no charges. I'm sorry. We're radical. This is WarCry.
No. It's kind of funny that both of those questions you just dealt with, Miss Nefertiti, bottom line, they're in the game. And let me tell you, ours, one of the ones you first talked about is police officers can't talk to your child. One of the questions is in the game is a school administrator asking a child, a student, questions a police officer gives to them. In a lot of states, the administrator they step in the parent's shoes, and they can absolutely do that. And we tell people to tell your child, no matter what, the Sunday table, always say, if somebody asks you about any crime, whatever, say, my parents told me I can't talk about this unless they're present. Because they will abuse that authority. Another question in the game is police officers interrogating people without food breaks and whatever. And, the typical interrogation is 2 to 6 hours. And anything above that is presumed to be coercive. So we try to add that into the game. But our whole thing is going back to, the right to remain silent. I always tell people, what does that mean? We do a symposium that we go around and we go down further. The right to remain silent. Most people sit in that situation, think, I didn't do anything. I don't have anything to hide. So they say something. I tell people, if you are innocent, you better shut up, or you think you're innocent simply because you don't know what you don't know. Like, for instance, think about the game. A lookout going there says, I didn't go in there. I didn't do anything. I didn't have a gun. They just told me to watch out, and I didn't see anything. That's enough. You didn't sign yourself up for felony murder. Exercise your right to remain silent, even if you think you're innocent, and especially if you think you're innocent. You have that right. Exercise that right in every single situation.
Latifi, we had a discussion yesterday, and my thing is that, can a cop actually, under deception, can he tell you, your friend just sold you out? He said you did it. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, that's a lie. Can they lie? And you know what she said? Yes, they can do that.
Wow.
That's lawful for them to do. Speak a little bit about that, and I want her to come in. Why could they lie to a child, a 17-year-old, and say that, oh, well, Marcus just said you did it? And that's a lie. Now you're getting this kid to say something because he's afraid. Go ahead. Let's speak to that.
Yeah, I think that's why education is so important. I'm so happy to be here today. And this game, Crime No Crime, I'm so excited about, because it is impaired. Like, knowledge is power, really.
Yes.
Because even the fact that every time I do a Know Your Rights, and I talk about that the police are legally allowed to use deception, it's not even just the youth that's surprised. A lot of adults and a lot of the parents are even surprised as well. And that's another thing that we talk to the parents also, because they'll try to talk to get the parents, right, to waive and say, okay, fine, you can question my child. And so that's why I tell the parents as well, if the police say, well, listen, let me just question your child. If he's innocent, then no. And I say, no, you do not want to do that, right? Because they are looking to see if, like, the example that was given, that Miss Eartha was talking about, if you say something, well, I didn't do anything, but and then they have you. Right. So you don't say anything. You don't say anything. Education is just so important. It's really, really important. And I
want to bring the panel in. Right now. Coco, you got anything you want to say about anything that we've been talking about? I know you do, girl. Come on.
First of all, I teach all the youth that come in front of me one word: lawyer. That's it. You get in that interrogation room, you get in that cop car, you get that sandwich or that McDonald's, lawyer. That's it. You're dumb, deaf, and blind. You don't know nothing. I had a 15-year-old that just did that. I was so happy. And when the mother called me, she said, I said, did they question him? She said, no, he lawyered up. I don't even know where he got that from. I said, me. He just was in orientation. Wow. He missed it. It's so important. And I had like 25 kids that I told us to in orientation for summer youth. Mm-hmm. These things, those words. And it's so sad that organizational wise, people want to gatekeep and don't help you exercise this power because you're not under their umbrella. But you're the one that's actually in the street that's doing the work with these kids. And I got it so that the precincts know that they are my kids. And when they get in trouble, who they call? Coco, we got one of your kids at the precinct.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And they'll let me come pick up the child before their mother will. So all of this is very important, and I'm gonna make sure I get that game.
I know. Look, I just sold the game yesterday. I was selling the game. I said, well, you know something? When you buy it, just make sure you put WarCry so I get a little discount, or let them know. Because
I'm gonna put a WarCry discount code, and they use that. they'll get $10 off. How about
You,
that?
you know why? Because
That's
I
nice.
know. I want you to make as much as you can to support. I'm just buying into the third version. You got the first version, you got the second version, and I know you're gonna have a third version. Now, I think the reason why we have people, Coco, not informing our kids or not wanting to help our organizations that are on the ground route to support our kids is because the big system wants to incarcerate them because it's big business. It's
That's
big
true.
business for our kids not to know their rights. It's big business for our kids to come up with a felony. Once you get a felony, do you know your rights stop? And I was only informed this maybe 6 months ago, is that when prisons are built and you take populations of people and put them in those counties which don't have any industry in, those prisoners are adding on to the population of that particular city or state. So now they can bring additional funding into that city or state. And remember what they say, that you belong to the Department of Correction. So now you're not even a citizen no more. You're belonging to an institution which Eartha Johnson, do you guys give me permission to say this? It's almost like slavery.
Mm.
You don't even belong to yourself. You belong to the state. Okay, I'm gonna have you come in, tell her you got anything you'd like to say.
Yes, I just think this is very powerful conversation we're having here this morning. I know Coco, she's been doing this work already, and she's been truly a trooper. She's been so good at what she does with the kids. And for me, starting out with my new organization, this is going to be very helpful, and it's educating me because a lot of this stuff I truly don't know. So I
But let
really
me ask you a
appreciate.
question, Taylor. I want you to bring up that it's you who's having to go down to the precinct to follow up with the incident. I don't want to say, you could say it, that happened with your daughter, because it's not like they're calling you up and saying, we're still working on the case. Elaborate a little bit.
Exactly. My daughter was gunned down and murdered on December the 17th, 2021, right in front of the home where we lived at. That particular morning, gunshots were going off, and I had no clue that everyone that I was hearing was going into my daughter. So as I was running downstairs to, get help for someone else, I realized that it was on my daughter dead already on the ground. So since that day, I am the one that's calling the police to find out what's going on with my daughter's case. If I don't call them, they don't call me. In the beginning, they wanted to know, they felt, to me, it seemed like they cared. But then, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I didn't hear anything from them. So I'm the one that's constantly going down there, calling them and emailing and texting and never getting any responses. Just recently, I went to court with another mother, and her DA was my DA. And I looked at him and he goes, he's doing excellent on her case. Well, they found her murderer, but he never calls me. So he was truly surprised that I was in the court with, another mother. And I'm like, what's going on with my case? And he said, your case is different than hers. What's the difference? We both have children that have been murdered, right? So it's very hard for me because not only am I traumatized from losing my child, I'm still running back and forth trying to get answers from the police. And it
Okay,
seems
Miss Johnson,
unfair.
come in. Come in, Miss Johnson. Eartha Johnson, please come in. Speak to her.
Well, bottom line, it's all the ones they say the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the oil. And you just got to keep fighting. But sometimes it's more than your fight. You got to get media, get other people that get into this fight with you. Because if it's just one person, they can just ignore you. But if media, somebody that has some name recognition behind them, if they come and start making noise, that will change the dynamics. Because I've seen that happen over and over again. So this is one where you can't fight this battle alone. You got to figure out who it is. Go back to the Kimba story. The reason that Kimba got out of prison is simply because her families, they were relentless. They went and they said at one time they went, what was that, bankrupt 3 times or something to that nature. But they kept until they got the right people to hear, to get those stories. And that's what you got to do. You got to find that right person to advocate for you, because you need help. You can't fight this battle by yourself.
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
truly understand that part. But you're around the
Okay.
right people and you're still not getting the right help. So that's
Well,
why I
you're
gotta
not
do
around the
reach for
right
everybody.
people, Chella, if they're not doing nothing to help you. They may act like they're the right people, but the right people will jump in the fight and help you,
Amen.
period. And I don't want to say something derogatory, but the right people will jump in the fight and help you. Send letters after letters after letters after letters after letters. Send letters to your council person, to your congressperson. Send letters to the governor. Send
Amen.
letters after letters after letters after letters. Advocate, 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 advocate. And you
And
know
you,
what? It is time consuming, but it's worth the effort. Okay, Minister Patton, I want you just to come in. If you have a comment, then we're going back to Johnson.
Yeah, I did have a comment, because by me being an administrator, they were talking about how the police officers can come into the school and then tell the principal or tell the vice principal, the assistant principal, what they want them to say. I refuse to do that. I would not do that. If you want to speak to this child, I will have them call their mother, but you're not going to get me to be the bad guy, to be the. I absolutely refuse. I would not let them even come in my building. And I guess they had a right to. I never thought about it until you just said that. And I would not let them even arrest the child.
everybody's not like you, though. That's the sad thing. And now with everything that's going on in politics, these school officials are scared to do anything, because
Absolutely.
they think
Yes,
they're going
they
to
are.
lose their job.
Yes.
The domino effect has been something. I just lay up at night sometimes like, Lord Jesus, we're living in the world of the lawless. Where can you go? Can you feel safe anymore? Because people, I guess it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. If justice or the judges are out there, that they're not following the rule of law.
Yeah.
And we went earlier where you talked about police officers being deceptive. Police officers can actually outright lie. And again, that's one of the questions in the game. Remember earlier when I said, I'll tell you one of the reasons I changed the game?
Yes.
That question had a lot to do with, the way I added the detail. But long and short of it, you're so right. The things that they can do, I want to say, Miss Patton, at these schools, if they don't have a person like you that's there fighting for them, they're, as I said, dead on arrival. Because bottom line, police officers can do things. And if you got administrators there, that a lot of them, they're not on our side. And those kids are going to be the ones that suffer the most.
And let me say something. Let's go back and let us define self-incrimination, intimidation, and deception, because I want those three things defined: deception, intimidation, and how a young person can self-incriminate themselves. I need them defined on the broadcast. Who want to take it?
It's a lot of questions there. Bottom line, intimidation comes in all kinds of forms. A lot of kids don't need a lot to feel intimidated, simply because, I shouldn't say, some of us are not, we don't have the confidence. And this is not trying to sell a game or not, but the more you know, somebody said earlier that knowledge is power. When you know your rights, it's harder to be intimidated because you know what you know. But
let me come back to you. And the panel may disagree with me. Sometimes our kids may know they're right, but the intimidation, the pressure that they get from these police officers, and especially if they had committed a crime prior to that. Coco, you might want to come in.
And I was going to say, we need more Cocos. That's exactly what I.
Coco,
the way she's teaching them going,
yeah,
I love
Coco,
Yes.
yeah, how they feel the pressure.
So I say this, right? I tell them all the time, like, what are you scared of? What are you actually scared of? And most of them say the police. So I ask them all the time, so if you're scared of the police, why would you commit a crime? But then, as we learned it today, some of them might not even know that they're committing a crime. And a lot of times now, they just getting arrested for not having an ID.
Absolutely.
So,
That's a crime. Coco, that's a crime.
I know, but not even having an ID. So this is why you have to power them up. You understand? Give them their power back. Let them know. And this game is going to be excellent. A beautiful way of powering them up. But, the ghetto way, the street way, shut the hell up. Shut up.
Don't open up your mouth. Don't say nothing.
Yes.
It's the
But-
only words you know when you go in that police department. And if you do anything else besides that, it's not helping you. So they be like, all right, I got it. And they do it. So, you want to be intimidated by them, or you want to be intimidated by me?
I check them. I don't want to be intimidated by you. I check them.
It's a thin line. But like I said, just power them up.
But Coco, I want to come in and say something.
And then hold on. Another thing too. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Another thing too. Some of our kids be high or they intoxicated when these things be happening. Also, some of them be under the influence. So when you put them in that room for all them hours and you don't feed them and all these drugs and stuff that's going on in that's intimidation too. Now I just want to go home. And then some of them lie with the deception, say, well, if you tell me what happened, I'll let you go home. You understand? So that's a lot of things too. So it's a lot of components to it. Because if they high and now they coming down off that high.
Not good judgment. No good judgment.
Depending on whatever they, took that day. Now listen, I'm going to just tell you what I want to tell y'all so I could go home.
Okay, Coco, let me say something. But sometimes they play good cop, bad cop.
Yes, all the time. And I tell them they twins. They twins. They all work together. They all in the same house. That's what I tell them. And what you tell a good cop, you tell a bad cop. Lawyer. Because once you say
Johnson, I think we need Coco on your team, Johnson, because we need Coco on your team. We need Coco on your team.
Yeah, I'm still they twins. I'm dumb, deaf, and blind.
Yeah, I'm dumb, deaf.
The only word you know is lawyer. That's it. Because once you say that, all that intimidation, all that not, telling you stuff or asking you questions or making you rat on your friends, that's done. Because that's what they really go by. Like, oh, if I tell, oh, if I go to jail, like it's all intimidating. But if you say lawyer, all that stops. It's like you know what,
Coco? I'm with you. But some of these lawyers we got, as Taylor said, aren't good anyway. And I don't want to say it, but it appears that sometimes they're working hand in hand with the system.
And I believe you. And that's why we have people like Nefertiti, where I could tell her, yo, this lawyer? What's good with this one? Hello?
Nefertiti, come in, Nefertiti. I want to see your face next.
You work hand in hand just like they do.
Nefertiti, I want to see your face next. Nefertiti, tell us a little bit about the criminal justice system. I was told, and we got Johnson, we're going to bring her back, that you can't, that if a 13-year-old commits murder, can he be charged with that, or will he be treated as a juvenile, or what goes on with that?
Well, what has happened in New York, right, is that the age at which someone can be charged with murder has, it's gotten to a point where now if a 13-year-old is charged with murder, now there's a juvenile desk in the precincts. So they'll look at it and say, should we send it to family court or should we send it to criminal court? So it used to be, before a lot of lobbying, and the Legal Aid Society was also involved with other organizations as well in raising the age basically at which someone is sent to criminal court, because it used to be that automatically if a 13-year-old was charged with murder, they would just go to criminal court. But now there are different factors involved. It doesn't mean automatically they go to family court, but at least a team will look at it, like the cops and the district attorney, they will look at it and decide whether or not it should go to family court or it should go to criminal court. And recently, actually, we had an underage person. We worked really hard, and eventually their case it actually went to criminal court, and then it was transferred back to family court. And so I would say that it's well, there's something else I want to say about the work that I do and working with the youth and letting them know their rights. The participants in a lot of the sites that I work with at Cure Violence, I always tell them, do not let them know that you have an attorney. Do not speak. And one of the things that we do, or I do as an attorney working with the youth, is that if any youth is arrested, we at the Community Justice Unit, there's a 24/7 hotline that the staff of the Cure Violence sites call. They reach me or one of my colleagues. We call the police and let them know, hey, this person is represented by an attorney. Do not question them. And if there's a lineup, I actually go to the precinct to make sure that the lineup is being conducted legally. And something that I always put in the Know Your Rights to the youth, that is very important. I once had a young person, and I was at the lineup, and these cops, they looked at me, and I think they didn't realize that I was an attorney. So the cop, I was there witnessing the lineup. All these cops were next to me, and one of the cops was the person, the complaining witness, identified somebody that wasn't my client. You would think that would be it, right? No, the cop tells the person, well, look at person number 2. What about me? And number 2 was my client. So I speak out, I say, excuse me, what you're doing is illegal. I'm an attorney. They all look like, oh my God, And so
let me come in. But do you know how many of our kids have had that happen to them? Look what happened to the Central Park 5.
That's right. Yeah.
Let us never forget what happened. Let us never forget what happened, how the rights was violated, how people misidentified it. Don't ever let us forget the Innocent Projects, where there are millions, thousands of Black men and women and people of color that have been incarcerated because their rights have been violated or they've been misidentified doing a lineup or no lineup. I want to bring you in, Miss Johnson.
Okay. Was that a question? Is that a question?
No, that's just a comment, because we're on fire. You see, we're on fire. You see Nefertiti, she's fanning, she's hot. Coco is ready to do the fight. Taylor's sitting back. Patton is ready to go out to the whole school system. We are here. This is WarCry. You've stirred us up. Go ahead, at you, Miss Johnson.
Yeah, all I can really add, because y'all have said almost everything that's really important. It's about, the bottom line is education, getting our kids to understand the law, understand the gravity of their conduct. I love the community activism that you're doing here. Everybody on the line to say that, or on this group to say what you're doing matters. And yeah, we need to get more Cocos and Nefertitis out there, that's out there speaking that language. And even think about the minister, Minister Patton. All of y'all are like working, trying to make it happen. And I think if we unite, and that's what we got to do now, because if you look out what's going on out there, somebody said, all we have is us. But you know what? All we need is us. If we get together, if we unify, if we educate, it's no stopping us. Nobody's going to save our kids. Nobody's going to come to help us. We got to help ourselves. And I think that's what we're doing. We just got to get more people in there. We got to get more Cocos, more Nefertitis, more Miss Paytons, the ones that are out there fighting on the ground. Miss Taylor, all of them are doing something that matters. The next day, to think about the day after, and when you said that, it just struck my heart, because it's kind of like when somebody dies, that when they die, somebody's always there. But that day after, when you need them the most, they've gone on about their business, but you're keeping hope alive, as they say. So, at the end of the day, I think we got to unify, get together. This is a war cry, and we're crying out to people out there that are actually listening. Join in the fight. We can't do it by ourselves, but if we work together, there's no stopping us.
Now, with that, when you come to New York, when you coming to Philly, when you coming to Connecticut, when are you coming up here so we can join you and come out and support you? This is WarCry. It's about networking, community. So when are you coming this way so that we can deal with you and you can help us deal with the situation?
We're going to find a time to come. I was there for Al Sharpton's event a couple months back. You know, that was the last time I was in New York. Ironically, when I was young, I wanted to live there, but I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and I think that was way out of my league.
Oh, excuse me. Do black people live in Omaha, Nebraska?
Yeah, we have a ghetto. I was raised in it. So, yeah, it's a lot of black people in Nebraska, in Omaha at that. You know,
Okay, now
I want to shift. Democratic vote. You got to wonder why. You know, Nebraska, they always get that one blue dot, and that's from Omaha, and that's because we do have a lot of black people there.
Okay, now let's shift. Do you think that this game should be played in the church?
Yeah, they have crime, no crime game nights here. Absolutely. You play it anywhere you have kids. We're trying to reach out to 13 and higher because those are the ones that fall victim to the system. We talked to Fannie Willis. She was at the NBA conference I attended, and she said we need to start it at 4th grade. You know, and one of the schools asked me to do it for elementary, and I said, well, you know, they're a little young for some of the scenarios. And they said, did you know we have kids here in ankle monitors? And I'm sitting here like, wow, we're living in another world. So no, we got to educate our kids as soon as we possibly can. And in the game, it's 250 scenarios. And what people have to do is go and pick the ones that are most relevant and the most appropriate for that age group that you're trying to get to. So, you know, there's something for everybody. But, you know, when you got sensitive or young kids, you got to watch how you feed them and where you go. And that's why we made it where you can go select the ones you want. It's 250 cards. One game takes less than 25. So you got like 10 games, if not more, in that box.
Now let me ask you a question. What was the difference between the first version and the second version that you made?
I was more intentional. One of the things that bothered me, the whole reason for that game is to keep our kids out the system, right? And it's certain things as that Nefertiti can attest to, that there's a lot of things that, and Coco, to all of y'all that are on the Civil War, things that police officers actually can't do. But what I would do is I'd say that in there, that bottom line, they couldn't do it. But I didn't always capitalize on saying, hey, once you say, I do not consent to a search, step aside. Do not think you can't do this and try to stop them. Now you got assault of a public servant where they could search you. Now they can search you incident to the arrest. I tried to put more definitions and tried to be more intentional. So I didn't put our kids or expose them to any harm, you know, put them in harm's way unintentionally. A game that is designed to save lives, I wanted to make sure it lived up to its purpose. So I added more detail. I added more sex crimes in there, only because these kids, the stuff they're communicating and doing online, those things are coming back at them. And where they may not persecute or prosecute somebody else's kids, they will prosecute ours. And then another thing, it was a lot of things I did to just make it where, you know, we just taught them more, and not only taught them more, but was more intentional about trying to keep them out the system.
Yes, that's a critical thing. A lot of times we're dealing with kids after they've been in the system. We want to work on a prevention before they get in there. Prevention, but being more proactive, because once they get into the system, they have a tendency to repeat again. And a lot of our kids do things for various reasons. It's not that they wake up every morning and say, oh, well, I want to go out here and kill somebody. They don't, or when they're born this one is stumped crackhead, robber, murderer. No, our kids don't have the same fair chances that other kids have, especially those that live in areas that are not produced. If a kid is hungry, he gonna steal. And he's going to steal. I remember Judge Bruce Wright, turn him loose, Bruce. They were so against him because he said, how can you look at this crime and this black man who's stealing for his family and this white man who's stealing because he has a disorder?
and you're going to give them the same punishment. You know, our kids are struggling. They're fighting for their lives in some of these areas. And we don't have a White House that's really favorable for anybody that's this color.
Amen.
That's this color. So it's going to take us all collectively. As you can see, I am very passionate. This is WarCry. I am out here to do what we have to do to save our children. I'm going to, on our website, I told my producers that we're going to have a whole column set up with say their names. We're going to put every Black kid's name, every person of color's name on our website, and we're going to continuously say their names until they get justice. We're going to broadcast and advertise your job. Crime, no crime. This is what we're going to do. We're going to help Coco. I'm going to get her digits. Oh, I don't know if I said the word digits, but I'm going to get her cash. I'm going to get her cash up along with Teller, along with Nefertiti, and we're going to put it on there. We're going to do the work that God has called us to do. This is what our work is about. We can no longer stand on the sideline and allow someone else to find a solution to our problem. We know our problem. Don't we, Coco? Don't we know our problems, Coco?
Do we?
Okay. Yeah.
We
And
and
I'm going...
And hold on. And some people capitalize off of those problems.
A lot of people capitalize.
But that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show.
Oh no, and we're gonna have another show, Johnson. We're gonna bring you back again. We're gonna actually go out and put our mouths out and then sample your game. Then we're gonna come back. We're going to sample your game, and then we're going to let Nefertiti come back and head us up in a discussion with you listening on what we learned and what we didn't learn. Right, Taylor? Right, Patton? We're going to learn the law.
Remember, crimenocrime.com for information.
Yes, and let me just bring, let my producer bring the second video on. Bring the second video on. Thank you, producer.
Some of the best lawyers I've ever met haven't even been lawyers at all. They've been clients who learned the law the hard way while serving time. The one thing they all have in common is that they never would have gone to jail in the first place if they only knew then what they know now. My name is Antoine Johnson. I'm a criminal defense attorney and one of the creators of Crime No Crime. The truth is that it's very easy to go to jail in America. We have nearly 2 million people locked up, and a lot of them are there only because they didn't know the rules to the most important game of all, the rules to the game of life. Not knowing the law can be the difference between freedom and prison, but where do everyday people go to learn it? Crime No Crime is a card game that teaches you how to keep yourself and your loved ones out of jail. It gives you the opportunity to get the information that usually is only taught in law school classrooms, information that most people don't learn until it's too late and they're inside of a jail cell. So please, get your copy today. From my family to yours, Crime No Crime.
Crime No Crime. This is another great program. I'll give everybody 1 minute, a 1 minute comment. Okay, starting with you, Minister Patton, a 1 minute comment.
Oh, okay. Am I on? Yes, I'm going to say, like James Brown said, say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud.
Absolutely. And we want you to sell 10 copies of the Crime No Crime.
No, I'm excited about that game. And just it just stirs up and lets you know that people are still in the battle. We're still
and people still thinking about us. Black people are still thinking about Black people.
We're thinking about ourselves, how we can do this.
Yes, tell her. Tell her.
Again, I am just grateful to be here. I give God all the glory, but I too want that game. Coco, we're getting ready to go on a retreat. That is something that we should probably try to get soon so we can play it on the retreat with the adults. Because a lot of people, like you said, adults or children just don't know. So I am grateful to be here. And what I always say is you're never alone. So that continues with adults also. You are never alone.
Never alone. Okay, Coco.
I want to start doing this work with younger youth, with younger kids. Just like Smokey the bear taught us not to, play with fire. I have Sean the don't shoot bear. I have Pumpkin the positive panda. I want to do stuff with kids as early as the elementary school. They on YouTube. They know what video to ask for. My granddaughter at 2 years old know to press the microphone and say what she want because she knew she couldn't type it. So Come on. I want to tap into that, because if we do that at that age, they won't play with fire. They'll be positive, and they definitely won't shoot people.
And we could change a generation. We could change a generation. And guess what? We can measure change. Change can be measured by the results of closing the prisons down. That's how we can measure change. And we can start fighting for our education system and take all that money that they're putting in our prison system. They said, and you got to correct me now, Fatifa, because you're coming on, that it's what, $800,000 to prison, to house a person in prison. Now, Fatifa, go ahead on.
I'm just so honored to be here. I'm very honored and grateful to be here. And I just want to remind, like, anyone watching, especially our youth, that you are brilliant. You have so many gifts inside of you. That's what I always try to remind our youth, that you are brilliant and you have power. And I always say, like, even though we look out and we look like we don't have power, we have so much power that is waiting to be expressed. Just because it doesn't look like we have the power, what it looks like isn't what it is. And this is an example of what here on this program today. We have so many resources, and we when we get together, we can move mountains. That's right. And our community, we've done it many times over the centuries, and we're going to continue to do it. So thank you so much.
Yes. And another thing, don't go anywhere. I want to keep you right there. A lot of times our kids don't know their worth. Their worth is determined by their environment, and that's not true. But they live their worth because of the areas they live in. But we don't even know. We got royalty. We come from kings and queens. They brought us over here on the land that was not our own. They changed our identity. I am so tired of Nefertiti. Come back up, because I got to tell you what I'm tired of. Yeah. I'm so tired of our young people wearing their pants hanging down, and they're trying to run from a police officer, and they're going to fall and get caught.
And I just want to say something, because I've heard some people say, well, I'm so tired of this narrative that we come from kings and queens because we weren't all kings and queens. I just want to say something about that. Even if, like, yes, there's a king and then there's people. We come from a great people. That's no reason why, that we come from kings and queens. It doesn't mean every single last one of us was a king or a queen, our ancestors, but we come from that royalty, that we come from that stock. We come from a people that fight. And I'm just saying that I've heard, like, people try to, downplay that, but no, it is not to be downplayed. Our people, we have gone through so much. Our history doesn't stop at slavery, right? Our history goes beyond that. Our history, it comes from royalty. And I just think I'm glad you said that we come from kings and queens, because that is true. We do come from royalty, and we come from power. We come from not just resilience, but also brilliance.
Woo! Say that again.
Not just resilience, but also brilliance.
Absolutely. Come on in, Eartha. Give us our final closing words. We're going to have you back. We're going to follow you. We're going to do all. Now, Elder M, I hit you up on Instagram. I called. I left 1,000 messages. I am a person that's consistent in pursuing what we need to bring to our neighborhoods. That's what we bring to the table. Our persistency, our dedication, who we are, our commitment to the battle. So give us a closing remarks.
Closing remarks is our steps are ordered. A lot of times in life we go through adversity and we don't understand why. And it's because that Miss Taylor and Coco, they lost people that some other or thousands or hundreds others will live. Sometimes we don't understand why we go through these journeys. And I'm sure that Nefertiti, as well as Pastor Pat, something in your life got you to where you are now. So as we think about, our steps are ordered, we can make this work if we unite. And I think that's what we're doing. Y'all give me hope. And I'm not just saying it. Sometimes you feel like you're in it by yourself. It's like nobody's, I'm trying to do this, but where are the other fighters out there? And just to see everyday people like us, people that just everyday people trying to do something to make an impact that matters, it gives me hope. I really do believe that Crime No Crime is perhaps one of the most consequential games in our lifetime. And I say that because no game is more relevant. Where do our kids learn the law? It's at the very core of, I want to say, criminal justice reform. And for that, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful for Valley you were, and the funny thing is y'all got to help me with social media because that's where I'm falling down. I'm not good at all.
I was on it. I was on it. I was on it.
Instagram. I only saw the email message. So guys,
but Eartha, Johnson, you know how many more I sent after that? Because see, the Spirit of the Lord told me to bring you on. And when the Spirit tells me something, I'm going to move. Thank God. I want everybody to unmute and just give Miss Johnson and her family a hand clap for being such a good.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. I'm black and I'm proud.
I'm gonna give you a clock that. I'm gonna clock that for you.
I am black and proud. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna send you an email. We're gonna get together, everybody on the panel, and wherever you at next, we're gonna come and you're gonna know you got family in New York City.
Thank you.
You got family in New York City.
To get your discount, I want to make sure that if anybody order it, I'm gonna go in within the next 5 minutes, and if you order the game, put WarCry and it'll give you $10 off. I wanted to make sure you did.
Thank you.
Oh, WarCry. We'll be back next week with another dynamic show. This is WarCry for our children, WarCry for justice. We're in the fight, and guess what? We're gonna win. See you later next week, 11 a.m. Thank you, panel.
God bless.
God bless you. God bless you.
A game that's going to bring family together, or make it competitive. This is the game, Crime No Crime. My family played this, and for hours we enjoyed it. We had one person who thought they knew the law. We had one person who was in law school reading the cards, and one who had trouble with the law. And you talking about the people who knew the law and the one who had been in trouble with the law going at it. It was so much fun, so enjoyable. Like, this is a great family game. And it teaches everyone to know the ins and outs and how to protect yourself. Listen, worth it. Oh, great game.
I appreciate you.
There's a new thought-provoking legal game created by a local family to educate people about the law.
Yeah, Chelsea Edwards joins us live in the studio with the masterminds behind the game to tell us what it's all about. Chelsea, I love this concept.
Yes, masterminds indeed. I played a few rounds of this, and I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun learning all the things that I don't know. So the name of the game is Crime No Crime. We've got Eartha and Antoine Johnson here. So why did you feel the need to create this?
We're a family of lawyers. And because we're a family of lawyers, we get the calls from our friends and friends of our friends when someone's in trouble. And we literally have had front row seats watching lives destroyed and families torn apart when people they love gets caught up in the criminal justice system. From those calls, I would say 7 out of 10, they either didn't think they were committing a crime, or they didn't appreciate the gravity of their conversations or their actions. And that, it's impressed upon me that most people don't know the law. In the U.S., they say ignorance of the law is no defense, but it's led to the mass incarceration of so many of our people because they don't know the law.
All right, so let's talk about how the game is played and how it's going to help us learn the law.
Okay, I was very intentional. What we did is we came up with real life scenarios, and it says crime, no crime. And so we would ask you, pick a card, just
pick a card, any card?
Yeah, just any card.
Let's see. I'll take this one.
Okay. It says, allowing your 7-year-old child to stay home alone after school who dies in a house fire from playing with matches. Crime, no crime.
Definitely a crime, I'm going to say.
And most people, in Texas, however, it doesn't have an age where you can stay home alone. But if they do get in a fire from playing with matches, that's saying that child wasn't mature enough. And that's what we have: criminally negligent homicide or involuntary manslaughter.
So it also tells you the charges that
the charges. That's the first is crime, no crime, and then what's the crime?
Okay, all right. And then you mentioned that you have a family of lawyers. You've also got a bunch of judges in your family as well?
Yeah, I have a judge, a prosecutor, and Antoine's a criminal defense attorney.
Okay, and you're married to
another lawyer, corporate lawyer. Okay.
So you all kind of created this and put all your minds together. Okay, we got to go, but I am definitely going to play some more. I'm going to pull in some anchors to play with me so we can see how much we know with crime, no crime. All right, send it back to you at the desk.
This is WarCry. WarCry for our children, where the street meets the sanctuary and purpose meets power. Join me, Elder M, intercessor, street evangelist, prayer warrior, advocator for justice. We stand in the gap in the streets, in the courtyards, in the schoolyards, in the church, and on the block. This ain't just prayer. It's intercession. It's advocacy. We deal with real problems. Criminal justice, social justice, gun violence, social media, catfishing, human trafficking, mental illness, education disparities. We deal with it all here on WarCry. Our community has a voice. It's called WarCry. Each week, we link arms with community leaders, educators, pastors, parents, calling out injustice. This is WarCry. This is not just a podcast. It's more than a moment. This is a movement. Join us. Let's give a voice to the problem and be the solution.
I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going.
WarCry. We're going to speak out for our children. Let freedom ring? No. There cannot be freedom until there's justice. WarCry, join us Mondays, 11 a.m. I'm just about to lose my mind. This is WarCry. They're trying to turn time back. But let us get out and give a voice to the problem. This is WarCry. Join us, be with us, or be gone. Don't push us. This is WarCry.
Trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
We're not going under. This is WarCry.